MATTOT, MASSEI. Tribes, journeys. God's trumpet call presence. Ninth and 10th reading from the book of Numbers. 42nd and 43rd reading from Torah. Outline of Torah portion. The requirement to keep the vows. Numbers chapter 30 verse 2 to 31 verse 12. The command of the Lord regarding vows, verse 1 and 2. Moshe spoke to the heads of the tribes regarding vows made to the Lord, and they were to instruct all others in Israel. A vow made to God is not a small thing. God instructed his people to be careful to keep the vows they make and fulfill every oath they made. A vow or an oath is an oral promise, a statement a person makes to which he or she obligates himself or herself. In Hebrew, a vow, neder, is a statement by which a person binds himself or herself to perform a certain act or refrain from a certain thing. An example would be Nazirite vow in Numbers chapter 6 verse 1 to 21. An oath, shewa, can be a statement of a formal declaration. An example would be officials take an oath of office. Witnesses take an oath in a court of law. If a person makes a vow to the Lord or swears by oath, then he or she shall not break his/her word. That person is not to break his word, but fulfill the vow. Vows made by a young woman within her father's household, verse 3 to 5. If a woman, young and unmarried, living with parents, makes a vow to the Lord, binds herself by agreement, and her father hears it and holds his peace, then all her vows shall stand. If he overrules it, then none of her vows or agreements shall stand, and the Lord will release her. A new wife's vow overruled by her husband, verse 6 to 8. If she marries while bound by her vows or by a rash utterance from her lips, and her husband hears it and makes no response on the day that he hears it, then her vow shall stand. But if the husband overrules her on the day that he hears it and makes the vow void, then the Lord will release her. Vows made by widow or a divorced woman, verse 9. Any vow of a widow or a divorced woman by which she has bound herself shall stand against her. A wife's vow confirmed by her husband, verse 10 to 16. If a wife vowed in her husband's house and husband heard it and did not overrule her, then all her vows shall stand. If the husband overrules them on the day he hears it, then it shall not stand. Her husband has made them void, and the Lord will release her. Every vow and oath to afflict her soul, husband may confirm it or make it void. If a husband makes no response, then he confirms all her vows and agreements that bind her. If the husband does make them void after he has heard them, he shall bear her guilt. God commands vengeance of the Midianites. Chapter 31, verse 1 to 12. The Lord spoke to Moshe and told them to take vengeance on the Midianites for the children of Israel, and after that he shall be gathered to his people. Moshe organized an army to battle against the Midianites. 1,000 warriors were assembled from each tribe. They fought against Midian, destroyed the men and their kings. Balaam too got killed. He tried to curse the Jewish people. Israel captured all the Midianite cities and took all their animals as spoil. Division of the spoils. Numbers chapter 31, verse 13 to 54. Moshe becomes angry for keeping the women of Midian. Verse 12 to 18. The Israel army kept alive women and children. Moshe was angry because the children of Israel failed to see the great danger of sexual immorality and idolatry posed by these women. Earlier, these women led the men of Israel into these sins. Seducing the Israel army into immorality and idolatry will make them spiritually weak, and winning the battles will be difficult. Israel had to remain spiritually strong to defeat mighty warriors. Only young girls were spared so that they might be taken as wives or slaves by the Israelite men according to the principles of holy war. Deuteronomy chapter 20 verse 13 to 14, chapter 21 verse 10 to 14. Strong and harsh judgment came upon the Midianites 3.5 millennia ago. They were not wiped out as a people, and later they are found as enemies of Israel. Judges chapter 6. Command to remain outside the camp, verse 9 to 20. Soldiers who went for war was to remain outside the camp for 7 days before coming back into the camp of Israel. Anyone who killed a person or touched any slain needed to purify themselves, and the captives on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. Every garment, everything made of leather, everything woven of goat's hair, and everything made of wood. Purification of spoils, verse 21 to 24. Eleazar the priest said to the soldiers to purify everything made of gold, silver, brass, iron, tin, and lead by having them pass through fire. They must be also purified with the water for purification. All that cannot withstand fire must be purified by water. Clothes must be washed on the 7th day and be clean, after which you may enter the camp. Division of the spoils, verse 25 to 54. God commanded that the spoils of the battle should be divided evenly between the warriors and the rest of the people. Total spoils from the war was flock animals, sheep and goats, 675,000. Cattle, 72,000. Donkeys, 61,000. Female captives, 32,000. Both the warriors and non-warriors were commanded to give a portion of their spoils as a gift to God. Practically, it was given to the priests. The warriors were to give a gift of 1 part in 500. The non-warriors a gift of 1 part in 50. This is half of the spoils given to the warriors. Flock, spoils 337,500, gift 675,000. 675. Cattle, spoils 36,000, gift 72. Donkeys, spoils 30,500, gift 61,000. Female captives, spoils 16,000, gift 32. Half of the spoils given to the non-warriors. Flock, spoils 337,500, gift 6,750. Cattle, spoils 36,000, gift 720. Donkeys, spoils 30,500, gift 610. Female captives, spoils 16,000, gift 320. Upon discovering none of the warriors had been killed in battle, a special thanksgiving offering of gold vessels and jewelry was made to Moshe and Eleazar the high priest. The amount of gold in this offering weighed 16,750 shekels. Tribes of Reuben and Gad request east bank of Jordan. Numbers chapter 32 verse 1 to 19. The request by children of Reuben and Gad to settle on east side of the Jordan River. Verse 1 to 7. Children of Reuben and Gad had a very great multitude of livestock because of successive victories over the Amorites, Sihon of Heshbon, and Og of Bashan, and the Midianites. They accumulated an abundance of livestock. They saw the land of Jazer and Gilead and recognized it was a place for livestock. So they asked Moshe and the other leaders of the people that if they have found favor in their sight, to let the land be given to the children of Reuben and Gad, and not to take them over to the Jordan. For 400 years, the tribes of Israel longed to go over the Jordan into Canaan, the promised land. At this point, these two tribes planned to stop short of crossing the Jordan. Moshe feared that decision Reuben and Gad will result in discouraging rest of the children of Israel from going over into the land which God has given them. So he asked them, Shall your brethren go to war while you sit here? Moshe wanted them to know that they have a battle to fight and they must fight it together with the rest of the tribes and help them conquer Canaan. Moshe may have also feared that they are following the path of the previous generation that died in the wilderness. The two tribal leaders offered to send their troops to conquer the land, verse 16 to 19. The children of Reuben and Gad explained that they would build a place for their livestock and families to live. Then arm themselves and fight alongside the other tribes to conquer their territory in Canaan. They promised not to return to their homes until every one of the children of Israel has received his inheritance. Moshe accepts the offer of the Reubenites and Gadites. Numbers chapter 32 verse 20 to chapter 33 verse 49. Moshe's response. Moshe responded to them saying that if they did as they had said, then they would be blameless before the Lord and before Israel. Otherwise, they will be guilty before God and have sinned against the Lord, and said, Understand that your sin will find you out. Moshe instructed them to provide first for their families, build cities for the little ones, wives, flocks, and all livestock. The tribal leaders of Reuben and Gad agreed and told Moshe that your servants will do as my Lord commands. They were submissive to Moshe's authority. So Moshe gave orders concerning them to Eleazar the Kohen and Joshua the son of Nun, and the clan leaders of the tribes of children of Israel. Moshe instructed them, saying, If the descendants of Gad and of Reuben cross over the Jordan, armed for battle, and land is conquered, then you are to give them the land of Gilead. But if they do not cross over armed with you, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan. So Moshe gives to the tribes of Gad and Reuben and the land on the east side of the Jordan River that was conquered from Sihon and Og. The children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilead and took it. He dispossessed the Amorites who were in it. Gilead was given to Manasseh. Jair, son of Manasseh, took its small towns. He called them Havoth, Jair. Nobah took Kenath and its villages and called it Haba. Half the tribe of Manasseh were content to settle on the lands east of the Jordan River. So 2.5 tribes received their possessions of land east of the Jordan River. Exodus reviewed. From Egypt to Sea of Reeds, Yam Suf. Chapter 33, verse 1 to verse 10. In these verses we find all the places the Jewish people camped after leaving Egypt. All these places are mentioned earlier in the Torah. Encampments mentioned in this reading are from the leaving of Egypt until the Sea of Reeds. They came back to Yam Suf, but not at the place where they had originally crossed when God split the sea. Journey from Yam Suf onwards. Chapter 33, verse 11 to verse 49. In these verses we find the journey from Yam Suf to Mount Sinai. Then from Mount Sinai until they arrived near the Jordan River in the plains of Moab. Torah does not indicate how long Israelites were camped in each place, but significant events and where they occurred are recorded. The conquest of Canaan, Numbers chapter 33, verse 50 to 34:15. The command to conquer the inhabitants of Canaan, verses 50 to 53. The children of Israel were camped in the plains of Moab, their last camping place until they entered the land of Canaan. The Lord spoke to Moshe and said to speak to the children of Israel that when they have crossed the Jordan into the land of Canaan, they are to drive out all the inhabitants of the land, destroy their engraved stones, destroy all their molded images, and demolish their high places. Israel was commanded to dispossess the inhabitants of the land and dwell in it, for the Lord had given the land to Israelites to possess. Their task was expressed in these Hebrew verbs, that is, to drive out, destroy, and demolish. God did not want any Canaanite culture remain in the land, which would encourage idolatry and immorality among the children of Israel. Division of the land, verse 54 to 56. The Lord commanded that the land be divided by lot as an inheritance among the families, larger families to receive larger inheritance, and the smaller to receive smaller inheritance. Inheritance shall be whatever falls to him by lot, and will be according to the tribes of the fathers, so that the land will be distributed fairly and according to the size of the tribe. The Lord warned that if Israel failed to drive out the Canaanites out of the land, they will occupy the land, but their practices, such as immorality and idolatry, will find a place among Israel and will cause constant trouble and irritation for their existence. The Lord gave them a warning. It shall be that I will do to you as I thought to do to them. Borders of Canaan. Numbers chapter 34, verse 1 to 12. Borders of Canaan according to chapter 34, verse 1 to 12. Your southern portion will extend from the Zin desert close to the border of Eden. The eastern terminus of your southern border is at the end of the Dead Sea. From there, your border goes south of the Akrabim ascent and passes on to Zin. From there, it goes south to Kadesh Barnea, on to Hadza Adar, and on to Azamon. Then the border turns and goes from Azamon to the Wadi of Egypt and along it to the sea. Your western border will be the Great Sea. Your northern border will be as follows. From the Great Sea, mark a line to Mount Hor, and from Mount Hor mark a line to the entrance of Hamat. The border goes out to Zadad. Then the border goes to Ziphron and finally to Hadza Enan. This is your northern border. For the eastern border, mark your line from Hadza Enan to Shpham. Then the border goes down from Shpham to Rivla on the east side of Ain, then down until it hits the slope east of Lake Kinneret. From there it goes down the Yarden River till it flows into the Dead Sea. These will be the borders of your land. Division of land among the tribal members. Numbers chapter 34 verse 16 to chapter 35 verse 8. Leaders appointed to divide the land, verse 16 to 17. The Lord spoke to Moshe and said that Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun will be the leaders appointed to divide the land among the children of Israel. They were the two most godly and prominent leaders. Leaders from each tribe appointed to help Eleazar and Joshua, verse 18 to 29. The Lord commanded to take one leader of every tribe to divide the land for the inheritance. The names of the men who were appointed are from the tribe of Yehudah, Caleb, the son of Jephunneh; from the tribe of the descendants of Shemuel, the son of Ammihud; from the tribe of Benjamin, Elidad, the son of Kislon; from the tribe of the descendants of Dan, a leader, Buki, the son of Yogli; from the descendants of Joseph, from the tribes of the descendants of Manasseh, a leader, Haniel, the son of Ephod; from the tribe of the descendants of Ephraim, a leader, Kemuel, the son of Shiftan; from the tribe of the descendants of Zebulun, a leader, Elidzaphan, the son of Machnak; from the tribe of the descendants of Issachar, a leader, Paltiel, the son of Azan; from the tribe of the descendants of Asher, a leader, Ahihud, the son of Shlomi; from the tribe of the descendants of Naphtali, a leader, Adahel, the son of Ammihud. These are the ones whom Adonai ordered to divide the inheritance among the people of Israel in the land of Canaan. This list includes only the names of 10 tribal leaders, because the tribes of Reuben and Gad have already received all their inheritance on the eastern side of the Jordan River. Cities for Levites, verse 1 to 5. The Lord spoke to Moshe in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho, and said to command the children of Israel that they give the Levites cities to dwell in from the inheritance of their possession. Give also common land around the cities. The cities to dwell in and common land shall be for their cattle and their herds and all their animals. The common land of the Levites shall extend from the wall of the city outward 1,000 cubits all around. City shall be in the middle. Later, this passage was used as the basis for determining the Sabbath day's journey's distance, generally measured at 2,000 cubits from the gate of the city. Number of Levitical cities, verse 6 to 8. tribe of Levi was given 48 cities as their dwelling place. 6 of them were designated as cities of refuge. The Lord dispersed the Levites throughout the land for instruction of the people, a larger tribe to give more land, and a smaller tribe to give few. These they are to give in proportion to the inheritance that each received. 6 cities of refuge, Numbers chapter 35, verse 9 to 13. Cities of refuge and their purpose, verse 9 to 12. The Lord spoke to Moshe, saying, when you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall appoint cities to be cities of refuge, that the manslayer who killed any person accidentally may flee there. These shall be cities of refuge for you from the avenger, that the manslayer may not die until he stands before the congregation in judgment. Joshua chapter 20 describes the establishment of these cities, but no case has been found that shows the use or the misuse of the cities of refuge. If the killer acted without intention but carelessly, then the city of refuge protects him. If he acted with intention, then the killer deserves to be executed for the crime. However, the Jewish court can only execute a killer under certain circumstances. A killer who is protected by a city of refuge must remain in that city until the current high priest dies. He may return home after the death of the high priest. If the killer leaves the city of refuge early, then the relatives of the victim may kill the killer. The laws concerning women, heirs, verse 1 to 4. Now the chief fathers of the families of the children of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of the sons of Joseph, spoke before Moshe and the leaders and said that the Lord commanded my Lord Moshe to give the land as an inheritance by lot to the children of Israel, and to give the inheritance of Zelophehad to his daughters. This passage refers to Numbers chapter 27, verse 1 to 11. A problem arises when the daughters marry. The land would go to husband's tribe, and eventually the original tribe's lands would become depleted. Solution regarding Zelophehad's daughters, verse 5 to 13. God gave a simple solution that if a daughter receives an inheritance of land, they may marry whom they fate, but they may marry only within the family of their father's tribe. So the land will not change hands from tribe to tribe. Then she must marry within the tribe. Just as the Lord commanded, the 5 daughters of Zelophehad married to the sons of their father's brothers. They were married into the families of the children of Manasseh, the sons of Joseph. Their inheritance remained within their tribe. Conclusion of the book of Numbers, verse 13. The book of Numbers concludes with the statement that these are commandments and judgments which the Lord commanded the children of Israel by the hand of Moshe in the plains of Moab, by the Jordan across from Jericho. They started their journey in Egypt, and now they are in the plains of Moab by the Jordan.